People who became successful after the age of 40, 29, Stan Lee. Stan Lee, the legendary face of Marvel Comics, became one of the most influential figures in popular culture. While he began working in comics as a teenager and built a steady career, his global fame and recognition came later in life. It was after 40 that his creations, Spider-Man, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and countless others, gained cultural dominance, transforming him into an icon of storytelling and imagination. His life shows that true success sometimes takes decades to unfold. Early life and struggles. Stan Lee was born Stanley Martin Lieber on December 28, 1922, in New York City. The son of Romanian Jewish immigrants, he grew up in a poor household during the Great Depression. From a young age, he loved books and movies, dreaming of writing the great American novel. At 17, he joined Timely Comics as an office assistant, filling inkwells and proofreading scripts. Soon, he began writing short text fillers and eventually comic book stories. Lee adopted the pen name Stan Lee because he planned to save his real name for serious literature, a sign that even he once underestimated the potential of comics. Climbing the comic book ladder. Throughout the 1940s and 1950s, Lee worked in comics, but the industry was considered lowbrow. Superheroes had declined in popularity after World War II, and Lee often felt unfulfilled. He considered quitting the field altogether. Yet he stayed, editing and writing for Timely, which later became Atlas Comics. By his late 30s, Lee was still a relatively unknown writer, far from the cultural icon he would become. The turning point after 40. In 1961, when Lee was 39, his publisher asked him to create a superhero team to rival DC Comics' Justice League. Ready to quit comics, Lee's wife, Joan, encouraged him to write the kind of story he truly wanted before leaving the industry. The result was the Fantastic Four, created with artist Jack Kirby. Unlike traditional superheroes, these characters had flaws, personalities, and real-world problems. They argued, struggled, and felt human. The comic was a success, and it marked the birth of the Marvel Age of Comics. After turning 40, Lee co-created a string of legendary characters: Spider-Man, the Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, the X-Men, Doctor Strange, the Avengers, Black Panther, and many more. These heroes revolutionized the comic industry, grounding larger-than-life powers in relatable human struggles. Marvel's rise and Lee's stardom. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, Marvel Comics exploded in popularity. Lee, now in his 40s and 50s, became the face of the company. His lively writing style, witty captions, and fan letters created a bond with readers. While artists like Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko provided stunning visuals, Lee's storytelling and character development turned Marvel into a cultural force. His work helped elevate comics into mainstream entertainment. By the 1980s and 1990s, as Marvel expanded into television and film, Lee, often appearing in cameos, became an ambassador for the superhero world. Global fame in later life. Lee's greatest recognition came not in his youth but in his senior years. In the 2000s and 2010s, Marvel characters dominated Hollywood through blockbuster films. From Spider-Man to the Avengers, his creations became billion-dollar franchises. Even in his 80s and 90s, Lee remained a beloved figure, making cameo appearances in nearly every Marvel film. His presence delighted fans, making him as iconic as the heroes he co-created. Challenges and controversies. Lee's career was not without conflict. Disputes over creative credit with artists like Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko cast shadows over Marvel's history. Critics argued that Lee sometimes received more recognition than his collaborators. In later life, he also faced legal battles and financial troubles, including allegations of elder abuse. Despite these challenges, his legacy as a storyteller endured. Later years and legacy. Stan Lee passed away on November 12, 2018 at the age of 95. By then, he had become a symbol of creativity and imagination for generations. Marvel's films and characters continue to dominate global culture, carrying his vision forward. Lee himself has been immortalized in documentaries, tributes, and fan art around the world. The lesson of Lee's life. Stan Lee's story shows that persistence pays off. For decades, he worked quietly in an industry many dismissed. It was only after 40 that his true creative genius reached the world, reshaping storytelling forever. His life reminds us that sometimes success is not about starting early, but about staying long enough to create your masterpiece. Conclusion. Stanley became one of the most celebrated storytellers of the 20th and 21st centuries only after the age of 40. His creations defined modern popular culture and continue to inspire millions. His story is proof that even when success seems delayed, persistence, imagination, and authenticity can turn later years into the most powerful chapters of life. Kindly subscribe,